Hello and welcome back to the Sam Beast YouTube channel and another one in our series on the ITAM Challenges. A reminder that if you want to get involved and have your say, please feel free to follow me on LinkedIn where I post weekly ITAM challenges to see what you guys out in the ITAM industry will do. So in ITAM challenge number 2, we met Joe. Joe is a senior director within the finance team and has noticed that Apple have released the latest MacBook Air M2 15-inch, which they actually have. He currently has a 13-inch MacBook Air with 2 years left of internal planned life. Joe wants the new 15-inch though, as the Apple launch event said it was much better than the current 13 inches, and he thinks it looks nicer. There is nothing technically wrong with his current MacBook. Joe is known as being a bit of a tricky customer for ITAM, you know the ones, and the service desk, and he believed that he should have preferential treatment as he's a senior director. He is adamant he deserves this new MacBook. Within his role, he's also a cost center owner, but he doesn't believe that his cost center should have to pay for it, as it should be coming out of the central IT budget. Interesting character we have here, which I'm sure you can relate within your organizations. Now, remember, nothing wrong with this current device. The only justification is that it looks better. Joe's known for being a bit of a tricky customer. He's a cost center owner, but he doesn't want to pay for it. You have an existing hardware onboarding process. This is a net new model for your organization as it's just been released by Apple. And Steve from the previous scenario and Joe are friends. And you guys made Steve follow the correct process via 70% of the votes. And of course, Joe and Steve, they're both difficult people. They talk to each other. So what would you do? As always, there were 4 options. We had over 225 votes and 10,000 views on this one. So the 4 options were outright reject the request, approved, but Joe's cost center rather, will have to pay for it, approved and via the existing hardware budget, or follow the existing hardware onboarding process. This one was a little bit tighter than the previous poll, so if we go in last order first, and only 4% of people voted to say it's approved and via the central hardware budget. I most certainly would not be going with this one, I must admit. If there's nothing wrong with the existing asset, I see no reason to buy a new one just because it's Apple say it's new and shiny and you want it because it looks nicer, etc. And also just because you're a senior director, that doesn't really mean anything in my world. If you're not on the VP C level, no preferential treatment in my book. The next option and the second lowest voted one was approved, but Joe's cost center must pay for it. Interesting one, can absolutely see the logic on this one. Again, though, it's a new model for the organization. How do you know it's going to work? How's it going to be compatible with software? How's it going to work within your infrastructure? This one, I understand why you'd vote for it, but again, it probably wouldn't be my preferential choice. In second place, with 30% of the votes, was an outright reject. So it's a case of, nope, it's not part of our hardware convention. You're not willing to pay for it. There's absolutely no justification for you getting a new one just because it looks nice, because it's new. Just a straight up reject. I like this one. I really like this one. My only comment on an outright reject of this request is that as an ITAM function, you're providing a service to end users. So as long as you're providing valid justification, maybe even some data to prove that Joe doesn't need a new model, maybe do a benchmark test on his current device to show that it's not running slow, it's still got 2 years left of life on it, it still meets his requirements. If you're just outright rejecting, don't send a cold email saying, nope, you're not getting it, end of. Back your argument up. Provide data, maybe even look at any tickets that have been raised to show that Joe's complained that it's been running slowly or isn't fit for purpose. And if you can't find any evidence, then you can use that to justify your response. And finally, the winner with 47% was to follow the hardware onboarding process. This or outright reject for me would have been the answer that I would have gone with, to be honest. So this is abiding by Joe's request. Joe wants to have a look at the new model. He wants to buy a new one for himself, but you're saying, okay, well, we can have a look at it through the hardware onboarding process. Remember, the hardware onboarding process isn't a definite yes, you can have it. It's not a definite yes, we're allowing this into our organization. It's a making sure that the right stakeholders get this particular model, the 15-inch MacBook Air M2, that they can do the testing on it, they can evaluate it before agreeing whether it should be part of your approved hardware catalog or whether it should be rejected. So this isn't bowing to Joe's request and his seniority as a director. No, this is just making sure that you're following the process, giving those in the know, the experts, the option to go through and test it, see if it's fit for purpose, and then if it is, you within the ITAM team and your key stakeholders have a decision to make as whether you would add this into your approved hardware catalog. Thank you so much, as always, for taking part in the ITAM Challenges. ITAM Challenge number 3 is on the way as well. And whilst you're here, please do not forget to like and subscribe here at the Sam Beast YouTube channel, as we have got a huge back catalogue of IT asset management, software asset management, and hardware asset management videos, and have loads coming up over the rest of this year as well. So with that, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.